All right, guys, we're live with
Hey,
GuardianCast
Barney and
episode
Bass,
43. This is going to be, I think
43.
when we look back at this is going to be like one of the lost episodes, like where people go back and they're like, yeah, where does that really fit into the anthology of things,
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I was thinking, that this could be, because I know we said we didn't really have really like an agenda, but we could make it a year review.
Yeah,
I am so happy with you right now. Everything about what you just did makes me happy.
Yeah.
we're technically not at a year yet, but we're
No,
getting
yeah,
there.
we're close. We're
We're
close.
pretty close.
Yeah. So we're gonna do things a little bit different today. There is no TWAB for 3 weeks. So for this
Not at
3 weeks, we're gonna be experimenting a little bit and seeing if we can change the format of the show to get away from just being a primary news source and discussion, TWAB discussion show. I want to today maybe talk about a lot of non-Destiny related things. I mean, we can talk about Destiny related things, but there's not a whole lot there. And yeah,
We
so
got a lot of experimenting to do. For next week, we bought. I'm losing my voice. Sorry. We bought those experimental food kits, like the slime ones that you get from Toys R Us.
mm,
We're just gonna make a bunch of slime and eat it. So be
yeah,
sure to be here for that one.
science experiment episode.
Science
That's not this week,
experiment.
though. That's next
Yeah.
week. This week we have no content.
Yeah, it's
Well, what I want you guys to do, like as we're just talking about random things in chat, if anything comes to mind, a question or a topic of discussion, just throw it in chat, and we'll just be kind of picking things at random to discuss ad nauseum. I think we can carry this idea forward if it's successful, where like kind of in the past how we've like taken questions sort of at random. We could take topic ideas at random, and if the podcast starts to grow a little bit, we can have moderators like handle that kind of stuff and pass the information to us as we do this. So, all right. So starting off, a good question. Michael would like to know when Huffy will realize G-Sync will make his life better. So,
I literally every time I turn it on, I feel it might. So here's my problem with it, right? I can physically see that it looks slightly different when I turn on G.
Slightly
Yeah.
better, you mean?
yeah, that's true.
I
It
can
is.
see that it looks slightly better. It's really not that big of a difference.
When
Well,
it is a big difference is when you get into areas where the frame rate is more unstable.
Yeah,
That's where it makes like the
Yeah, for
hugest
sure.
difference.
yeah. So if your
But-
frame rate dips below 75, it's not going to be a huge improvement. But if it stays above 75, you're going to see crystal clear, smooth frames the entire time.
Well, so like I've done a bunch of testing and like I've watched like the recoil pattern of my gun and like done a lot of like shake testing and I probably threw up my wrist because like 2 days like before
Oh,
this happened
yeah.
I was on Nessus like flinging my arm around like trying to see the screen tearing.
We're definitely gonna get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Why did you fling your arm around trying to see some screen tearing?
Because it took a substantial amount of mouse pad to actually.
So you're saying that you couldn't see the tearing without excessive force being applied to your mouse.
Yeah.
So in other words, G-Sync is cool.
Well, there's also the factor that he's not bringing up, which is that he was playing at an unreasonably low sensitivity. Unreasonably low. Like,
All right.
I always get on people about playing at too high of a sensitivity, but he was playing at a sensitivity that is not known to man at this point.
20?
No. He was playing 400 DPI and what?
5 at the lowest, but I settled on 6.
Yeah, that's
so it was
pretty
just
low.
It was just a 24-inch 360, 2 feet. But the point is, I was on Nessus, and I could like see the difference. in my recoil pattern with G-Sync on. It was like definitely more clear, but
there actually is no difference in the recoil pattern. It's just like how the frame rate, like how smooth the frames are during the recoil pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a jerky motion that is like constantly on screen that you have to read, you know. Which is why I was like looking at the recoil pattern like for reference, especially of the Orchid because it just kind of flies up to the right. But it made my flicks feel so weird. Like my flicks, like I was not able to flick like to the places that I wanted to, and my 180s felt slightly off. It was like there was like a small like dead zone or like a small amount of smoothness that just like got added somewhere with that. And I'm sure it's just in my head, but like, well, I'm sure it's not in my head. I'm sure I felt something different. I'm sure the reasoning for that is like probably net positive, but for me,
you're not used to it is what the issue is. With G-Sync turned on, you won't notice the frames missing, but because they're not, because the graphics card refreshes at the same, or the monitor refreshes at the same rate the graphics card does. So you're not seeing there be a lag in between what you can actually see and what the graphics card is actually putting out. So when you're saying you it felt different, what you're saying is a 60 hertz. Well, I don't know what monitor you had before.
He's got a 240.
You have the same
hertz.
one that I have now, right?
He's got
the Alienware.
Yeah, I have that one too.
It just didn't feel 1-to-1, you know, and like as 1-to-1, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, side note, I know I did send you the Blur Busters article, but for a lot of people out there who don't like G-Sync, there is a proper way to set it up that Michael's talking about. When I first started with G-Sync, I was like, you know, I heard about input delay, and I couldn't really tell a difference when I did enable it initially. And then when I set it up correctly, I could definitely tell a difference and liked it a lot more. But good segue. So you did some tendon damage to your wrist, and you've been playing one-handed games, right?
Yeah, I've been playing. I actually had to stop last night because I started getting left-hand pain because I've had to keybind things to like ridiculous things.
Oh my god!
Man.
So what games have you been playing?
I've been playing Hollow Knight, Undertale, Speedrunners, Castle Crashers, and Maple Story, and really enjoy. It's really fun. I think the best so far is, Hollow Knight. Replaying through Hollow Knight is so good.
Okay.
But yeah, like just like 800 DPI 4 cents or 400 DPI 8 cents. It's enough. You don't got to go lower than that.
Yeah.
You need a Final Mouse Ninja Air 58.
Well, I have. I was actually thinking about that. I was like, I wonder if it had to do with, because my mouse is 67 grams and the new one is 58. If I just had like 9 less grams.
So what I was thinking is like when you were at a super low sense, because the ironic thing is here, when I started mouse and keyboard gaming for the first time, like most people, I started at way too high of a sense. And the problem with that is you almost plant your palm on the mouse pad and then exclusively use your wrist to manipulate everything, right?
Yeah.
And after 4 to 6 hours, you start to notice a pain in your wrist just from doing that. It's like a carpal tunnel pain. So as you like improve your technique and use your arm to maneuver the mouse, it relieves that pain, and it's usually good to lower your sense. So what I'm wondering is, when you got to such a low point to like get to the end of where you were trying to aim, did you have to like hyperextend your wrist to just like get the enough reach into it? Or
no, I don't, because I don't ever push to target. I pull the target, and I'm pretty anal about that. I only take gunfights in the middle of my mouse pad. So if someone's on my left, like I lift my mouse to the right and pull to center to take the gunfight.
Even with a shotgun, like you never like spin and shoot? or anything
Like
that?
if it's like if I'm being pushed and I like
Yeah.
have to defend myself, sometimes it happens. But if I'm
Right.
aggressing with a shotgun, I always pull to center.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know how that kind of an injury could have happened then.
I mean, I could feel it. Like what was happening is like there's just like I'm flying around a lot, like shotgunning a lot, and I'm just like when I was doing those like 12-inch 180s like constantly, um, like I was doing them. I was trying to do them at the same speed,
Okay.
uh, and then like my cutoffs, like a lot of my cutoffs like came from lifting the mouse. So like I'm jerking my arm at full speed, like putting the full force of like the mouse pad, like the mouse and that friction like on my wrist and on like my pinky and what you call it ring finger. And
Mm-hmm.
then like there's a ton of like lifting that I had to do that was like just extraneous. And so there's a ton of like I can't do it right now. But a ton of like this motion like going on just to lift the mouse. Just too much of that, you know. Way too much strain on everything.
Gotcha. So we had a pretty funny experience last night. Huffy and I got to watch
God.
our friend Godin play this game called Getting Over It. Have you seen it, Exo?
No, I haven't.
All right, so you might want to look up some footage of Getting Over It to get an idea of what we're talking about. But it's this like obstacle puzzle game where you're a guy in a pot with a hammer that hikes up a mountain of obstacles, and it's like an incredibly frustrating experience. And I don't
The
know
people doing
after.
speed runs on it, I see.
Yeah, there is people who have done speed runs.
The
And you
speed
can.
runs are not indicative of actual gameplay.
Right, yeah. After about 2 hours, Godin had made it like 5% through the map or whatever.
He at one point was like 20%, but
Right.
back to 5%.
Yeah.
This guy beat the game in an hour and 40, or in under 2 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, you can speed run it in literally like a minute and a half. But you have to have played it for your entire life to be that good at it.
So it's kind of like Super Meat Boy.
In
Similar
a way,
kind of like difficulty.
It's very difficult. But yeah, it was like one of the funniest things because he had like this feeling of accomplishment after every time he had gotten like past a new obstacle, and we were just like misleading him like, oh my gosh, you just got past the hardest thing. After this, you're like in the home stretch, you'll be done before you know it, and it just gets harder and harder and harder as the game goes on. So it was just like soul crushing.
It was so fun.
Yeah, I'm now just watching this guy. He's doing it in a minute and 41 seconds.
Yeah.
So
and the funny thing is, if you mess up at certain points, Exo, you can fall all the way back to the beginning. So
no.
Then you have to do it again, and like especially if you've spent like 3 or 4 hours trying to get to the point that you got to.
Yeah.
Falling all the way back is bad.
Yep. That was a pretty funny experience. But basically, like, the funny thing about it is, as soon as I watched those speed runs and like in comparison to like how much Godin was struggling, I was like, yeah, I never want to play this game. Like, I have no desire. Like, I know the amount of effort that it would take
to
get to the end of that, and I'm like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I see it. It looks pretty challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the hard part is that you control the hammer with your mouse, Like that's the only control you have. You can't control the guy's body. It's just like the hammer with your mouse. So you're just like
Yeah.
You're moving the hammer around this guy, like hoping that he moves in the way that you want him to.
But you're not like clicking to grapple or anything, right? It's just like.
So how are you moving the chisel or whatever he's using to get
with your mouse? Like you do like little mini circles and stuff like that.
that would be impossible.
Yes, you
That
don't
reminds
have
me
any
of
control over the guy.
that game Quap or whatever it was called that you had to move both the kneecaps and the feet, and like the idea was that you were running.
Oh yeah.
So like those type of games are always super challenging.
So as every week, Reese is asking about the now it's like it's turned into a combination of when we're doing a Petra's run, Diamond Run. So I guess now at this point we have to flawless both of them in succession. You know, you
I'm
can't.
fine with that.
Yeah.
As long as I get an achievement for the second one.
Yeah. There you go.
This week, Huffy?
Well, actually, I've been saying I'm fine with that as long as as long as the RNG stuff is out of the way and there's actually a reason for me to do it. But I'm never gonna get a 1K, so what's the point?
Wait, they fixed it this week? The Diamond Run thing?
I don't know actually.
There's no TWAB, so.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely didn't fix it this week then.
Yeah. But they're on vacation. I really doubt they fixed it.
Yeah.
They're on vacation. That's why there's no TWABs for these weeks. Every year at this time, they take a vacation. I remember, I think we've brought this up on the podcast before, but one year during Destiny 1, we got to this point, and right before they went on vacation, somebody was like, what if I just threw on like really aggressive skill-based matchmaking while we're out? And like didn't tell anybody else on the team, and everyone was like, man, PvP really sucks right now. Like it feels really bad. The connections are horrible. It takes forever to find a game. Why did you guys turn up skill-based matchmaking? And since the rest of the team was like not on the same page, they're like, we didn't do anything. There's nothing. We didn't do anything at all, guys. And then when they got back, they were like, oh, yeah, we actually lied. We did do something.
Somebody did something.
Yeah. they just acted impulsively. Like.
So the dawning ends on the 1st, but we're still not going to get the new thing until the 9th, right?
What new thing?
The Niobe Labs.
You get that on the 8th, actually.
Niobe Labs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 8th, yeah. And then the 23rd or the 22nd is going to be the last word.
Quest start, maybe, but then 29th.
Yeah, maybe we get it, maybe we don't. Who knows?
The draw.
Yeah, I wonder how many weeks this quest is gonna.
Oh God!
All over.
I'm assuming it's gonna be time gated enough that it's like, yeah, the last word will be meta next season, maybe.
Yeah, dude. I wonder if it's gonna be done in the same way that it's like part of a quest, and if you miss it, you gotta get it randomly.
Quality of life improvements are coming. I mean, they're at least they're aware of some things. Like they want to reduce the trips to Ada, and they want to let people fly into the Forge.
And after 6 months, they're aware and looking at Titan skating. You know.
Thank God they at least said something.
Yeah, where was that at? It was like the last.
Yeah, it was in the Q&A
one. A couple of weeks. Yeah. They're like, we're aware of the problem.
Yeah, good.
And they said that they wanted to do something about it. They just didn't know how. And I can tell you how.
Yeah.
It's called
macro protection, bitches.
That's definitely one way, or you could just even put a limiter on that jump. That's fine. Input limiter.
Fix the frame rate like every other engine in the world does.
Well, that would require a new engine. So that's not a viable fix.
Well, okay. All right, so that's not happening.
Yeah.
But maybe with Destiny 3.
You know, I want to bring up something like, I just want to put an idea out there and immediately smack it down, because I keep seeing this thing that's like, don't fix Titan skating, just let the other classes be just as fast. No. Don't do that. Like,
no.
I don't want to see this game just turn into a roller skating simulator, you know, like
it already
everybody
happened.
Buzzing around like the map the whole time.
I don't know if anyone that suggests that remembers Lawbreakers, but
no,
it was
no
a massive success. Yeah, super successful.
Dude, you know the guy who made that game is like, he's like one of the worst people. Like,
Really?
yeah, oh yeah. If you watch interviews with him, like after the game was a huge failure, he was like, "It's not bad. You guys are just idiots," and like, it's really bad,
Wow.
dude. And he just
I've
keeps
never-
like coming back. I don't really
I
understand.
mean, myself personally, I wouldn't mind it because I haven't seen an actual match of roller derby ever. So I mean, I've never seen it, so I wouldn't mind it. Just so that I would have a chance to experience what it's like to without actually, injuring myself.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, roller derby is something that you only need to do once.
It's like a life goal. I want to do this one thing so that I only ever have to do it one time.
Yeah.
Jeez, it looks painful. This woman's bleeding from the head.
What are you looking at, bro?
Just a YouTube video of a woman who was skating and she was pushed down or punched or something. I don't know.
Dude, what the fuck?
And like roller derby is a messed up sport.
Holy shit, dude. That's
They're extremely like she's cutting them like in the face right underneath the eye.
yeah, well, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, bro.
So then we were saying it earlier, but the knife trick is supposed to be a looped animation, but it hasn't been fixed or needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it does need to be looped.
So we've just decided to change topics to Cyberpunk 2077. No,
let's go.
I'm super pumped for the game. When does it come out?
June.
2020 probably.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to play it on
June of
launch.
this year.
Definitely not going to play it on launch.
Why?
There's not like a point.
Yeah, the point is avoiding spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm more about gameplay than I am anything else in video game.
yeah,
I just like.
In the case of CD Projekt Red, they're just such good storytellers. You know, like that is like a big selling point of their games.
It's true. It's true. Just like at this point, as good as Destiny is, like, it's gonna take like. It takes a lot.
In the summer, like, there's not going to be that much content. Like, there never is in the summer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, there's not even a raid. Well, there is a new raid, but I mean,
I'd rather like play it like 1 week later, like, and.
Oh, I thought you were saying like, oh, I'm not gonna play it at launch. Like, I'm gonna wait like until there's DLCs out or something crazy.
Oh no! Like, I'd rather play it 1 week later and be like, blind playthrough.
That way you could have a bunch of people who are like, I just look for blind playthroughs so that I can go into chat and spoil things for them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, on day one, everybody's just gonna want to watch Goth play it, and you know what? I do too. So
no, I'm definitely not watching anybody play it. Like, I am definitely playing that game blind.
Yeah.
Well, it's a single player game, right? So there's no like multiplayer component at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, even if you look this up, like, it's still saying the same thing. June 2019. Everybody keeps saying.
Oh, you think it'll come out in June 2019? Do you? Oh, you think? Do you?
I do. I don't see why not. Have you seen the
Well,
did you see the 45-minute gameplay reveal? Because it looks like the game has been pretty much done.
Wasn't it because The Witcher 3 was delayed, or was it not delayed?
I don't think so. It took them a long time to make it, but they've been making this game for like 6 years already.
Yeah, The Witcher was delayed twice.
Good.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yep.
Well, and they actually issued an apology letter for it.
But I mean, Exo, this game, did you watch the 45-minute gameplay reveal?
No, I still haven't. Maybe we should watch it live.
Yeah, we'll spend the rest of the podcast.
No, but I
Yeah.
haven't. No.
If you watch that, the game looks like it was already done at E3 when they revealed that. Like it looks
Yeah.
complete. There's only like a couple like small things that they are obsessing about polishing. You know, like so.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea that The Witcher was delayed, but I also wasn't really anticipating that release.
Yeah.
The game is probably done on PC, but they're waiting for new consoles to come out. Oh my god.
It might be.
I don't
Might
think
be.
there's going to be any consoles out this year, Michael, so that better not happen.
Sony might push it.
In
We don't
like
know.
December at the earliest.
Yeah.
Well, they don't do December releases. They do November releases.
I don't
So
think
they
so,
would-
man.
November of
really doubt
2019
it.
is possible, but I mean, it's more likely that they're just gonna wait. I mean, who knows where Microsoft is on that? And they don't even care about Nintendo. Like Nintendo doesn't. It's not even a factor anymore.
So my sister pulled the slickest move of a Christmas gift that I've ever seen, where it was both an incredibly nice thing and one of these things where you're just like, man, that's clever. So I open up the gift from her and I'm like, what the hell? Did you seriously buy me a PS4 Pro? Like that is way too much money to spend.
Yeah.
And then she goes, oh no, it's the box from the PS4 Pro. I bought myself a PS4 Pro and gave you my old PS4 in it. I'm like, well, that's still pretty nice. I can't really complain about it, but that's interesting.
That's cool.
That's hilarious.
You're right. That is too nice of a gift. Look inside.
Yeah. So I'll probably get around to playing God of War at some point on that.
Bro, God of War. I want to play it. I want to play it so bad.
Yeah.
Well, there's
the
God of
thing
War,
is,
there's
I wanted to
Bloodborne.
play it when it came out because there was nothing to play at that time, and I didn't have a PS4. But right now, I feel like I'm going to be pretty booked up for a while. I've got Kingdom Hearts coming out January. I'm going to be playing that. In my off time from Destiny if I decide to like not stream Destiny for one night or whatever. And then by the time I finish that game, Anthem will be out to try. I don't know how long that's going to last, if I'm going to play it for like 1 or 2 streams and be like, it's not really for me, or if it's something I'll return to every once in a while. Those are the only 2 options I see. I'm not going to be like full-time Anthem streamer, by the way, you know?
Yeah.
The nice thing is, though, even if I hate it, for that $15 that I'm going to put into Origin Premiere, I can try a bunch of other games, like a whole library of games. It's crazy. Yeah. Did you look at the list of stuff that you can get for that, Huffy?
Yeah,
I did, and that's
it's
insane.
basically their entire library.
Yeah.
And
I think minus the Madden, right? Because they
No, you get Madden as well. Yeah, the latest Madden. As long as you get the $15 a month one, not the $5 a month one or whatever. The $5 a month one's only older games.
Oh, the PC video game description. I see. So basically 174 games.
Yeah.
They're all like cool games.
Yeah, like Mass Effect and like Titanfall and stuff like
that. Oh, Darksiders 3. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's great games, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of games with microtransactions too, which is pretty.
No,
pretty
Burnout Paradise Remastered. I loved Burnout. But since you brought up Anthem, did you guys see that there was a guy who did stream Anthem under NDA?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because what they did as a for a punishment of the violation of terms of service was really weird. Instead of banning his account or
didn't ban it.
Suing him for breaking the NDA or anything, they just deleted his whole library of games.
Yeah, they cleared his whole library. He logged in and it said, "You don't have any games."
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So I guess that's something they can do.
So
I mean,
don't.
in a way, it's like an act of mercy because
Yeah.
it's not suing him, you know. So there's that.
Well, they still want him to buy the game, so eventually they're not going to ban him.
And it's just pretty funny because it's gotten like around news wise that they did that, and I think they were like, yeah, people are gonna like either love or hate this. But
I mean, it's a really interesting punishment, right? So you know, if you were caught DDoSing in Destiny, maybe that's something that they should do. Just clear your character.
Just fucking delete your game.
All your Blizzard games. Well, the problem with the DDoSing thing is Bungie has no way of proving it because it's like something that takes place outside the game. They can look at your game history and say, yeah, we're very suspicious that this person is DDoSing because they win 98% of their games, and it's because the other team disconnects.
Well, isn't there a way though that I mean, because you can say like the other team doesn't. I mean, because it's not like they're trying to cover their tracks, right? They're definitely being blatant about it.
I mean, they don't have to cover their tracks because from a legal standpoint, like you would have to access a person's like email and credit card history to like prove this because like the directed out
unless they're sending it from their IP, unless they're like actually doing it themselves.
You can't.
They would be really dumb to do that.
It's impossible. You have to use a botnet, which is like just like a network, like a server that like contains like hundreds of thousands of like spoofed IPs, like that can then like ping a certain server, like for information, and like the overload from like a certain amount of pings a second is what bricks your router.
Wow.
So it's not possible from a single IP. It's like it's anonymous by design.
Great.
Okay.
Non-traceable, other than email correspondence.
Well, like a VPN or.
Well, I mean, what do you mean?
What? Because you're using a VPN, obviously, right?
The people who are doing it? I mean, they don't have to. It has nothing to do with their IP.
Michael brings up an interesting suggestion. He says maybe instead of going through all the headaches involved in identifying individual DDoS offenders, maybe it's a lot easier to do something like all IPs connect to a shared IP, kind of like a server that's like dedicated or something like that, you know?
Like dedicated. What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
I think that would open up a whole new can of worms.
A whole new can of worms. Oh my!
You guys have been making that joke for like almost a year now, and I wasn't there when it started, so I just missed it every time.
Well, that's because it didn't have like the joke didn't start on this podcast. You said it on this podcast, and then Dudley messaged me after and was like, I can't believe he said that dedicated servers would be opening a whole new can of worms. What the hell is wrong with that guy?
So since we're doing your review, maybe you can explain what you meant by that. So we can kill the meme.
Huffy has no idea what he meant by that. He doesn't remember anything he says.
I
don't. He's like, I guess I said it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did. I mean, I'm sure we were talking about like why can't we have dedicated servers.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wasn't. I'm sure I was not advocating against it. I'm sure I was just saying like Bungie is not gonna do that.
Yeah.
It's it's more than just like clicking a switch. Like now the servers are dedicated. Like
there is that the Anthem thing. They said that they are gonna do dedicated servers.
So that's weird because all right, this is something that I've been thinking about too, because Bungie has always maintained that Destiny's a PvE first game, and that this whole like hybrid peer-to-peer thing is a better experience from a PvE perspective because you can play with your friends from Australia and whatever, and the lobby won't get all laggy for them because they're forced to connect to a dedicated server that's far away. Well, interestingly, Anthem is a PvE only game, and they're going to be on dedicated servers. So we'll see if what Bungie said is true, and you know, if you play with people across the world, if it turns into like a horrible experience, or if that's just bullshit so that they don't have to pay for dedicated servers, you know?
Well, the interesting experiment there is like a lot of the PR. I don't know if it's necessarily the PR, but most of the creative directors are like, no, we're aware of the mistakes and the mishaps that both Destiny's taken, the Division's taken, like all of our competition. We're intimately aware of their failings, and we're putting in systems so that we don't have those same kind of mishaps.
Well, I mean, also when you like take this long to come out with your game, then you kind of have
Yeah, I mean,
put up or
at
shut
this
up.
point, you know, we'll just wait till Destiny 3 comes out to decide what they failed on and what they.
Well, I
what they
just mean like
succeeded on.
Anthem. I don't know about you guys, but I heard about Anthem like 3 years ago, like
Yeah.
when they did the E3
I think
reveal.
it was reveal
2015, right?
No, I think it was the 2017.
No,
Yeah,
definitely not.
because before it was called crap, I can't remember the name of it. Like internally, it was, they've been working on it for a while, but they didn't reveal it until 2017.
That's not possible because I remember them revealing it when Destiny 1 was still out, not when Destiny 2 was out.
Oh, no way, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Nah, Destiny 1? I don't think so. Wait, you mean like during Rise of Iron?
It may have been during Rise of Iron. I know for sure it
Had to have been, bro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it came out in 17 during the Rise of Iron.
The code name was like internally was what the
it was
people
revealed
were.
at the end of D1.
Code name was Dylan, and they started work. They officially teased that they were working on a new project codenamed Dylan, which is what that was at E3 2014, but they didn't actually reveal the trailer until June 10th, 2017, during EA's pre-E3 press conference. And then that same year, I believe they also had a.
So 2017, is that the year Destiny 2 came out? Yeah.
Yeah, but it came out like 6
September.
months after the reveal.
Okay. So it was during Destiny 1. It was just the very end of it.
Yeah.
But they've been working on
while
this
we were
game
all thirsty as fuck for something to look forward to.
Since 2014 that's the earliest that they've actually admitted that they were working on it.
Dude, I just remember that, God, man, those months, bro, like where we were like, oh my God, the Destiny 2 beta is about to come out. And then we played it and we're like, this is weird. I'm so excited for the game. Please come out. Please come out. And then that inverted Spire experience where you just did it like 700 times in the beta because you were excited about Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Was like Destiny 2. Like that was Destiny 2.
Yeah, well, I remember like trying to look at the positives of it and playing that strike. I was like, it's a lot bigger. This strike, like end to end, it's just like a longer run than any of the Destiny 1 strikes and like more open areas and stuff like that.
And the boss fight was really hard. And then halfway through the beta, they were like, we heard your feedback, so we're going to make it easy. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, geez. And then the other thing I remember is like power ammo didn't drop. They never fixed that. Still a problem.
Still kind of a problem, yeah.
Well, they fixed heavy ammo finder, so now it's better.
Did they really? I didn't even catch that.
They did.
Okay. That's good to know. And the beta had one of the largest patrol instances in game, and we thought it'd be indicative of the entire patrol experience. Are you talking about the beta of Destiny 1, Michael? There was no patrol in Destiny 2's beta, right? It was just
I mean, you could like go around Nessus.
Yeah. I kind of had like a little bit better expectations after seeing the beta of Destiny 2 than Destiny 1. Like with the Destiny 1 beta, I remember I was like, yo, this game is awesome. This is probably like the first 2% of the game. It's like gonna be this endless wasteland of loot and awesomeness. And then like the game came out, and I was like, man, I've like already played most of the game. This is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the content drought with the strikes, you know, it's pretty real with this expansion even. You know, there's a new raid, but there's no new strikes. And I don't know that just new lore and like a new change in activity like Gambit is really gonna change it up a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not new Crucible maps really. There's no new strikes.
Yeah.
There's no like chunks of content to kind of sink our teeth into, except for a new raid. But we have to wait till the summer for that one.
Yeah, I'll be super interested to see what they do with Season of the Drifter, because Black Armory, like, to me, is a huge success. It definitely wasn't an expansion on any of our current systems, but it was like, hey, here are like these like 3 so far, about to be 4.5, like new experiences that get better like every time. All of them have loot to drop. They introduced the new system of re-rolling by allowing you to like pick up specific forge frames so that you can like hunt loot that you want and search for the rolls that you want, like, and grind towards that. That's something that Monster Hunter always had that we didn't have, like the ability to grind specific loot, which is like really cool that we have that now.
That they needed, but they need the ability for you to farm the frame that you want like all the time, not on a weekly basis, because what happens is you'll get like I think it's the hand cannon this week, right? So like
the sword
hand cannon is possible though this week.
So I agree with a lot of the design choices in Black Armory, that focusing on endgame content is the way to go. I think that you know, skipping out on the story stuff was definitely a good choice. The problem I'm running into now is I'm just getting tired of doing the same stuff. Not just like the forges, but just like you kind of have to do the old, like the Forsaken content that you've been doing for 3-4 months now, and you have to keep doing it, especially if you're still grinding titles or whatever. And I'm just kind of bored of it. And like last night at work, like I was like thinking about logging into my laptop and, you know, grinding forges, and I was just finding it difficult to have the motivation to play. So I do wish there was just a little bit more depth to it, you know. I don't really know what that would look like, but
yeah. Well, I know at the last forge we're going to be able to forge all of the frames, so I think it'll be interesting to see how like that changes the experience.
yeah.
And then I'll be interested to see.
Yeah, Shadow brings up a good point that while the forges are the end game, like, do you feel like it's end game after you're over leveled? Because it gets pretty easy, and it's it's that way. It's that way by design, because it's a match made activity, right?
Yeah, so, no, I think it's fine though, because it's like you're grinding. I remember there being activities. I don't know if it was Archon's Forge or what it was, but basically, like in Destiny 1, there was activities that you could do that you knew where X came from, and you were going after X.
The Omni farm.
Okay, so there's that, but like this is more than one version of that, and it's like a pinnacle version of a weapon or something you're looking for. So I think it works out.
Yeah, especially since they increase in difficulty, and the last one we know is going to be 650. So I think that's.
I like the Tatara Gaze. I kind of want to get the kill clip version of it, but the other weapons I really don't care about.
The other version of what?
Of the Tatara Gaze.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But the other weapons, like, I'm not really looking for a specific role when I.
The hand cannon is so good though, dude.
What's the optimum role for the hand cannon?
Here's my concern with the hand cannon. I already have a good energy hand cannon that I like. If it was a kinetic, I'd be more interested in it, because I need something to go with the Tatara Gaze, which will probably end up being the last word once it's all said and done. But ultimately, I just can't see anything replacing my Waking Vigil that would be better than it.
What's your
So-
role on Waking Vigil? I mean, because you can essentially have the same role on it, right?
Well, no, because Waking Vigil's a 150, which I just like better.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess getting like a good PVE roll would be.
Yeah. But I already have the raid hand cannon for that. The Firefly and or Dragonfly and
Oh,
Outlaw.
the Nation of Beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragonfly spec is pretty good.
Yeah.
well, that gun, you know, the Nation of the Beast, the curated one is very good and in its own right. So there's no, I don't know, I like it quite a bit.
I like the kill clip. I just am so into.
But
Kindle
ultimately, I
Orchid.
just want that Le Monarch, and I can't seem to get it. I've gone through like 6 powerful frames already and not gotten it to drop. So and it's kind of
Well,
annoying. You can't. That's the one thing you can't really farm. You only get a fixed number of
yeah, not to worry
opportunities
though,
at
because
it.
it's basically, you know, it's not any good in PvE. So
You don't have to
Like-
do a powerful frame to get it.
No, you do.
yeah, they said you
Yeah,
do.
Bungie
Oh.
said you do. Like people
Yeah.
were saying on Reddit that you didn't, but Bungie said you do have to have a powerful frame in your inventory. Have a chance.
Wouldn't it be
at
great if it said that someone has to have a powerful they'd be like, come on, let's just go get it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I even unlocked the Volunder Forge on my other 2 characters to give myself more chances at it.
Dang, dude.
But I wouldn't go as far to do the Gofanon or the Izanami Forge, but the Volunder Forge takes like 10 minutes to unlock. It's really
Oh
not
yeah,
bad.
the Volunder Forge is, yeah, I have that unlocked. I have the second one unlocked on all 3 character. They go Gofanon Forge, but not the Izanami Forge.
This stuff is beta testing and preconditioning to the upcoming more hardcore D3. I don't know if I have enough faith to say something that bold, Slayer. I have no idea what they're doing for D3. I've seen the leaks. I think they have an idea of what they want to do, but
Yeah.
I don't know how far into development they actually are on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard rumors that it's coming out next year, so if that's the case, man, I hope they've been working on something in secret for a long time now, you know? Maybe...
Well, you got to think about it, right? Last Wish took a year to make, you know, and that's a raid experience. So, I mean, how big does a team have to get to turn that raid experience into a full-fledged game?
It would take a whole studio.
I mean, I mean, shit, dude. Like, if D3, if the systems were like really good in D3, like even if it was just fucking as big as Forsaken was, like I'd be happy.
I want the scale to come back because it feels like in Destiny 1 there was this like feeling of like that everything you were fighting was incredibly massive, and it just doesn't feel that way. And at least for me in Crucible, it doesn't.
You know why that is, right? The scale of everything in Crucible.
Well, I know that it has to do with this like has something have to do with like the reskins or something that they're like just basically just layering on top of it.
Yeah, it's because the maps are literally 33% fucking smaller.
Yeah.
Like, guys, you gotta fix that. Like, I don't know why that's still a problem. Like,
well, no, but like even with PvE though, there's a couple of moments where you're like, oh wow, this is huge, but then you're like, but I'm huge, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't think Convergence feels any smaller than Pantheon did.
It does. You can tell by the hunter jump. There was a Bones of AO jump that you can do out of left side spawn. I guess that's blue. Off the ceiling there, which is no longer possible because the stairs are too close to the thing, and there's not enough room for you to like. There's not enough like just physical height for you to pop out of the thing anymore.
Well, I remember like the moon, even if that was a smallish planet, and it was pretty large for what but it just the scale of it. And
the First Light map you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the moon in its entirety.
Oh.
Just like
Yeah,
even the patrol
was pretty
zone.
big.
The patrol zone was huge. I mean, I would say it was.
No, you could circle the whole thing. Like it was way smaller than any Destiny 2 planet is now. You could literally circle the whole thing in like 3 minutes.
But didn't they say
really
that like
big,
the point of Destiny 2 was to make the maps and everything larger, but then in the same time they made like the PvP maps and everything that has to do with like all the content smaller. So like the engage, like I don't know, the Cabal feels smaller than they did in Destiny, the first Destiny.
I think that's just field of view.
Yeah,
might be.
Yeah, I think that's just field of view. But in terms of the moon map, though, definitely the only reason I know that is because I remember when I needed public events, like I would literally just get on my Sparrow and drive in circles until I saw one coming in. And it didn't take long to circle the entire map.
Yeah. It's something about it that felt huge, though, the moon. And I think, I don't know why. I don't know why it felt so big, but it did.
So last night I watched this Linus Tech Tips video where he built a PC with two 2080 Ti's and a 9900K in it, and then
he tried to get
benchmarks.
It to 1%.
Yeah, he couldn't get it to 1%. He only got in the top 2% of Time Spy. That's partially because number one, he didn't water cool his CPU. I thought that was a weird choice. And then number
it was
two,
sponsored by Be Quiet. That's why.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about with the sponsors, man. Like, everybody says, oh, no, they can still be objective. It's like, well, like, I know these guys are smart enough to know that that's, like, not a good idea, but they did it anyway because
I still think he got some overclock, though, didn't he? Didn't he get...
He did. He got up to 4.8 gigahertz, but on air.
Which is incredible for air.
Dude, with the amount of money that he spent, it's like a $5,000 PC. You wouldn't put that on air. I mean, that's just like ridiculous. You would be putting a custom loop in that or something, and that's how you get it to 1%. You would have bought like an EK water block and just ran both of those GPUs through a custom loop with the CPU, and then he would have been top 1%, no problem. But for whatever reason, because of sponsors, you have to throw an air cooler on there.
Right. He's actually doing a live stream right now of him unboxing the Digital Storm PC that Jay's 2 Cents did. So Jay's 2 Cents did the water cooled version. Actually, Tufu got one sent to him recently.
Dude, I want one of those so bad.
So
they're $9,500.
Yeah.
So one of the craziest things about it, though, other than the 2% thing, when he did the benchmarking in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it was playing in 4K and had it like 130, 140 average FPS. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But did he have ray tracing on?
Hell no. Hell no, dude.
Probably not.
You can't run ray tracing with 4K.
See, isn't the thing about the 2080 Ti though, is like you don't like it if you turn off ray tracing, like it's a beastie card.
Yeah.
And
it's
like
about
without
20% faster than a 1080 Ti. 20%. And it costs a lot more.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah. It's still like $1,250.
No, have you looked at the price of the 1080 Ti?
Oh, well, yeah, because that's because they're not making them anymore. Yeah.
Right.
But you can still buy a 2080, which is the same thing as a 1080 Ti. They're equivalent in performance, and a 2080 is $800. So. But the 2080 Ti is just, it's an obnoxious price, man. $1,250, $1,300.
Yeah, and they said that isn't the 2060 gonna come out, and it's gonna be roughly around the same.
Yeah, without ray tracing, thank God. I don't know why they even included ray tracing.
Well, they also said the GTX 11 series is coming out next year.
They put ray tracing on that 2070. If you run ray tracing on the 2070 in 1080p, it gets like less than 25 FPS. So,
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of people doing that. for sure.
You gotta get that ray tracing.
Yeah.
The thing of it is like the ray tracing in Battlefield isn't even that good, because what happened is they did they're not ray tracing it live. It's a pre-rendered ray tracing. So like like the last bit of the process that needs to happen is all done. Well, they only get away with saying that because I think what they did was they left like one string left to do by the graphics card that would improve the performance, but like you said, it tanks the graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get it to run at 1080p at 60 frames per second.
Yeah, you have to. Can you imagine spending $1,300 on a graphics card and being like, I'm gonna play in 1080p? You know, like that's just ridiculous, dude. At 60 FPS.
Yeah.
No. Hey, like you're out of your mind, dude. I don't care how good it looks, unless the only application I can see for that is if somebody's like, I like taking screenshots of games, you know, and posting them online. Then I could see it. You know, you could probably get some pretty pictures out of that.
There are a lot of digital photographers.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a thing.
Yeah.
That exists.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is like some people's job right now. Like to fly around in video games and press the print screen button.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. You got to get those skyboxes, man.
You gotta get those skyboxes.
If you can see it, you can explore it.
Oh my god, dude.
So this Digital Storm PC that Tfue got, that Linus is unboxing, is actually insane.
What's in it?
Okay, so he's got a water cooled I think it's dual or quad SLI. I know it's SLI 2080 Ti's for sure.
Okay.
But they're water cooled.
In a custom loop, or they're hybrid kits?
No, like Digital Storm's okay, so the one that Jay's 2 cents got sent was a different one than what Tfue got sent.
Okay.
Because Tfue is actually sponsored by them. So he has both of his PCs are Digital Storms.
Mm-hmm.
But his I think he showed off. Tfue has got just water cooled 2080 Ti's, but I think it's because of the custom firmware. But the one that Jay's 2 cents got, he was actually like they have it all on a water block, like both on the water block
in a big custom loop.
Mm-hmm.
That would be insane, dude.
Yeah, the one that Jay's 2 cents got sent was they'll charge you $9,500 for if you want it.
That
Jesus.
That's like something that's like really like aspirational, and like, man, you think about it and you're like, I'd love to like have that thing. But then like when you think about it practically, you're like, man, what if I spend 10 grand and then it was like rendered obsolete in like a year?
It will be.
Yeah.
It will be. You'll have to upgrade or change or
forget about, dude, upgrading anything in a custom loop. I can't imagine taking that apart to like upgrade individual components. That sounds
so
obnoxious.
You'd need Digital Storm to sponsor you.
Right, yeah.
Or you'd need, CyberPower or some PC manufacturer to sponsor you.
Yeah.
To get something like that.
Yeah, there's just, unless you're like obnoxiously rich and you're like, yeah, I just upgrade it every year or do a full rebuild.
I just do a full, order a new one and trash the old one because it's garbage.
It's garbage, yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, dude, like I really
life goals 2019.
I do think about it, and I'm like, man, I would love to like have more frames. But the cost of entry, just like when they were coming out with their 20 series, I was like, like it's gonna hurt, but I think it would be worth it to spend another $800 to get the newest video card. But then they were like, you thought you were gonna upgrade for $800? No, it's $1,350. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the 11 series is going to come out next year. I mean, that might be the spot that everyone sits at. But then, a month later they'll be like, "Hey guys, have you heard about the Titan that we have coming out?"
Well,
Yeah.
the Titan, I saw benchmarking on the Titan, and in a lot of games, it's actually performing worse than the 1080 Ti, the Titan RTX.
Really?
And then even in games where it is optimized for it and the drivers are there, it's like 3% better. So
It doesn't really surprise me because like when
it's $2,500. Like, don't buy that. Please don't
they
buy
have
that.
they have a completely different and like architecture to how this is actually created, right? So like the way I look at it is like they've spent years kind of honing in on the GTX architecture. But when they start with the RTX architecture, yes, eventually the RTX architecture will outplay it because they'll be able to get down the I think the 7 nanometer or 4 nanometer process. I don't know what they're on right now.
They're on 12 and 14 nanometers right now, and 7
So
nanometer is the next thing coming out.
So they're working on the 7, and that's what Intel's working on too.
Yep.
Is the 7 nanometer, and when they get then they're gonna do 4 nanometer
of the 7 nanometer.
Yeah.
It's basically like the size of the silicon that they're working with. Like they're getting down to smaller and smaller components so that it doesn't produce as much heat.
Oh.
So then they push it by doing more stuff on the die, thus creating the same amount of heat. So they can get better performance that way.
Right.
But then you figure they're going to do 4 nanometers after that, right?
There's a reason that they can't go much lower.
What are you talking about? They can have it the size of an atom.
No, there's an like some kind of reason with electrons that you literally can't go lower because they start to jump.
Well, I know their yields are too high right now, but they are working on it. They're working on 7. I know they're working on 7, but I think that's probably where they'll stop.
Yeah.
And then what? Just more and more cores, and more
just
and more.
Just your computer is just a giant graphics card.
And then like in 10 years it'll be like, man, if you're not gaming on at least like an 85 core CPU, then
yeah,
dude,
it'll go like a mid-sized tower. Like half of it is the CPU, the other half is the graphics card.
Yes.
And we'll go back to the room style CPUs. It'll be like I don't know, man. If you didn't. Like, remember back in the old days when we used to play with the room CPUs? Well, now we're doing it again. Only this time.
Only this time they're awesome. What are we coming up on again? CPU size? We're just talking about just tech stuff, pretty much.
Yeah.
We were talking about the nanometer size that they're
you had a chance to talk about your hatred of sponsorships. I personally don't mind them, and I think if it makes sense for me.
Hashtag not an ad, by the way.
Depending on the product, like I'm not gonna be like, oh well, I love the thing, but as long as I have the ability to talk honestly about a product, I mean, I don't like the be quiet thing. Like I kind of see your point. Like they would have put. I mean, I would have been like, you know what? I don't care if Be Quiet's sponsoring the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you sponsored with the case, that's what you bought.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they wanted to show off the cooler. I think that was the big thing.
Well, I just think it's a little bit like you get to have it one way or the other. Like, so Linus has this dual model where people support him on Patreon, right? And then he also has sponsorships.
Does he actually get support? Does Patreon?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think those two things have to be mutually exclusive, though.
Well, they do when you're saying like, "Hey, you are supporting my Patreon so that I can give you my honest feedback on what I believe is the best thing," and then you title a video "The best, fastest PC possible, gaming PC possible," and you throw an air cooler in it because you're sponsored by that company. It's dishonest. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Like he knows that that's not the best thing, and it's fine that it's not the best thing, but you're like mislabeling it and misrepresenting it because of a sponsorship. A lot of people probably don't think that's that big of a deal. I just think that kind of that kind of dishonesty is almost inevitable with sponsorships. So I think if you're gonna take Patreon support for like objectivity and reviews and stuff, then I think that is
So with
the
that said, do
best
you have a
model.
problem with the bounty program that Twitch is doing?
I don't know what you're talking about, actually.
So the bounty program is available right now in beta for all partners, and eventually it's going to be available for affiliates. What they're going to do is they're going to pay you out for a bounty. So they're going to say, oh, we want you to play Call of Duty World War II, and we're going to pay you X amount, and they have a viewership requirement for you to get paid the maximum. So you do it, and you're like, okay, so I'm going to get paid by this. It's a sponsored video through Twitch,
Right.
a conduit through Twitch. And the way that you do it is, well, if I don't have the game, they'll send you the game code. So you'll have the ability to play the game. And you play it for 1 hour, and you have to have a viewership minimum, and then they'll pay you for it. So the sponsorships are actually being
on what kind of content
Twitch.
that creator does. Like, that's an individual decision that they have to make. I think if they're, someone who plays games that people like watching for their skill and stuff like that, and they are okay with a sponsorship situation like that, I have no problem with people making money. That's fine. That's a fine model. For people have to eat and they have to support themselves. Like, sponsorship has its place. I just think if you're in a certain field where you are communicating with an audience and they are trusting you for objective information, reviews, and especially like if you are like a podcast, like let's say you're a news podcast, you talk about like, just things that you would see on like mainstream media news.
Oh, okay. And so what you're saying is you yourself wouldn't have an issue with it if you were sponsored by, let's say, Maxonomic versus DX Racer.
No, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't take a sponsorship.
Really?
I wouldn't take a sponsorship. It's just not. I don't think it fits my style of content creation. If I was somebody who was just like looking to support myself on this by any means necessary, I can understand making that decision. I don't criticize like small content creators for taking that. Like, you have to make money, you have to support yourself one way or another, and if you're not getting it through subs or Patreon support, then I totally get that decision.
So like a G Fuel
sponsorship. But if you're somebody who's like, hey, I want to talk about controversial topics, if you're somebody who wants to, and I'm not gonna like get too into it, but if you're somebody who wants to talk about controversial topics and then you take a sponsorship, all of a sudden now you are beholden to that sponsor. Like, you can't really say what you want to say, because if you say the wrong thing, you risk losing that money. And even if you think you don't care about that, it's a subconscious thing in the back of your mind at all times. Well, that's a big part of my income. I better be careful about this. So it depends what kind of content you want to make.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, when you think about like, sitting around, like Christmas is, is just passed. When you think about like how excited you are, about socks, when you get socks for Christmas, it's like, yeah, I don't get excited when I buy socks, but when socks are free, it's like, fuck yeah. Or socks are the meta, dude.
Take this for example. So I'm a streamer. A lot of streamers take a sponsorship from like Gamer Fuel, for example.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask you that about Gamer Fuel, just an example.
Personally, I think that nutritional supplements are complete garbage. Like, I can't imagine myself like, and I think a lot of people who read ads for that stuff, like, maybe they don't know that much about it, but it feels so regurgitated, and it's like, you can't possibly believe the things you're saying about this. Like, it's going to make you better at video games. You got to be kidding me. You don't believe that. Like, yeah, I get that you have to make money and stuff, but are you really willing to sell your authenticity? Because that's the thing. If you have an ad that plays, people can't necessarily separate that and say, well, he's being dishonest about this. Obviously, he doesn't really believe Gamer Fuel is going to make you a professional gamer, but I can take his opinion seriously about something else. Like, there is a subconscious effect that has on.
So it's like the level that Dr. Disrespect takes it to, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that case, he's not. I mean, I don't believe that he's serious about anything.
Right, he's a character. Like he could probably get away with that pretty easily because you're not really going to him saying, "I need to take what he's saying seriously and think about like what his take on X issue is." Like that's not the type of content creator you're going to him for. You know?
Well, I think anything outside of a game sponsorship, though, it would be okay then, because it's like, okay, so like let's say CyberPower wants to sponsor you, so it's like CyberPower builds you this awesome PC, and then you say like, hey, like I give you a percentage off of CyberPower if you use my code or whatever it is. And I don't know what the thing is. I mean, essentially,
not necessarily, because it doesn't all have to be related. So let's say, and without getting like political at all here, but let's say you're Bill O'Reilly on a podcast and you have a sponsorship from like Kellogg's or something like that. And then you say something really controversial that like upsets a lot of people on the internet. Kellogg's might say, yeah, we're gonna have to pull the sponsorship, you know, like, and it might have nothing to do with what Kellogg's represents or anything like that. But so now you have this like fear of like, I can't necessarily express my opinion because I have to worry about like how Kellogg's is going to feel about it. Whereas if you are on a subscriber based model and people are trusting you for your opinion, the only people you really answer to are your own listeners and supporters. If you piss them off, then you're gonna have a problem.
That's the way that they fought. I mean, I don't know if you know the history.
It's the most honest kind of transaction.
The original fake news was called. I mean, there's a game theory video on it that's really, really interesting. You definitely should check it out. Everyone should check it out. It's about yellow journalism, and actually the kind of the I mean, we have a term that we call fake news now, right? I mean, everybody knows that term. I think everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that term, but it dates way back further than like even now. And the term that it was originally used in the topic was it's called yellow journalism, where they would take what they would do is they would make their money off of, you know, selling newspapers on the street. And so what they did was they had these people, these boys, most times they were, you know, homeless, or, I mean, I think newsies. They would sell newspapers, and in order to eat, they had to sell the newspapers. So what they would do was they would call out these ridiculous headlines just to get people to buy it. And it wouldn't even be like in the newspaper, and in some cases
clickbait, huh?
So it actually was. And in some cases the journalism itself was like a clickbaity type of, just to be able to sell the newspaper. And the way that they fought that, you know, the way that we killed, you know, yellow journalism, and we kind of have it now with the internet, it's all over the place, but was actually subscription model. So because that way that, you know, like the New York Times wouldn't have to worry about selling a newspaper for 25 cents or whatever if they knew that they had your money on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I think that is like the future of digital media. Like, we've come into this age where people think they're getting everything for free, but really they're getting everything at the cost of what advertisements do to content. And once we've realized the price we're paying for that, I think more people are going to be willing to pay for content that they like and enjoy, you know, directly.
I have 2 YouTube accounts, and I recently was just like cutting back on some stuff, and I canceled YouTube Red on the one I don't use as much, and I was trying to watch some stuff on YouTube just like without YouTube Red, like literally yesterday, and there was an ad every 30 seconds of content.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I was actually freaking out, like, what the fuck happened to YouTube while I was like paying for this subscription? Because like literally 30 seconds of content, and then you have to watch a 5-second ad.
How long was the video?
It was 5 minutes, and just like every 30
5
seconds.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
And now, like, if you scroll down to, like, you used to be able to, like, go read some comments while the ad was playing, and I, like, scrolled down to try to read some comments, and then the ad stopped, and when I went back up, the ad just restarted from the first second.
Oh my gosh.
Well, so I'll watch like a 10-minute, or I don't know, they're all like 12 minutes now. I don't know why that is. Oh wait, I do.
Yeah.
It's so that they can fit in 2 ads in there.
Yep.
And a lot of times though, they're unskippable, and they're like, it says we'll start in -1 second, and it's like, oh, 12-second ad, fantastic.
Well, luckily, I use Google Play Music as a streaming service for my music that I use on stream and when I'm in the car and whatever, and it gives you access to pretty much all the music that's available mainstream. And built into that subscription, you get YouTube Red, so you don't have to watch those ads and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good deal overall. I'm surprised more people aren't on it. I know Spotify's popular, but that's just like a huge benefit if you're already going to be paying for that anyway, you know, and it's like $10 a month. So
yeah.
So that's the not YouTube Music, but like Google Music.
Google Music, yep. It's Google Play Music.
Mm.
And I've had that for a couple years now. Definitely worth it. But I also have 2 YouTube accounts, Huffy, and I noticed a difference too, because like I have my personal YouTube account and the one I upload like all the GuardianCasts and stream highlights and stuff like that, and every time I forget to switch back, I'm like, what the hell? There's like 4 ads that are gonna play for this video.
I didn't know people bought YouTube Red. Like I thought that we all just like the whole internet decided to not buy it.
I pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you use YouTube without it.
Yeah, it seems pretty annoying. But on the other side of it, YouTube Red has like this annoying thing it does too, that like I didn't really ask for this feature. When you're on your phone and you open up your feed and you scroll through the feed, it does this autoplay thing in the feed.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't play audio, but it'll like put captions up and like automatically start playing the video. And then it gets built into your history. So like it gives you a suggestion and you're like scrolling through and you're like, if you stop for 2 seconds, then basically like now that's in your history. So now like it's going to build you suggestions based on the suggestions it already gave you. So it kind of inspires like the worst kind of content in your feed, because all of a sudden now like the most eye-popping stuff that grabs your attention as you're scrolling through it is what is going to continue to suggest more to you. You don't usually get that quality of content like that, you know. It's going to be the flashiest thing.
Yeah.
You can turn off autoplay. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. I'll have to do that.
We're fucked.
So what I would say is, you know, we talk about sponsorships and all that stuff, directly related to Twitch. There's, I'm trying to find the article about it. There's crazy stuff that's happening with Twitch right now. In that Ninja is hosting a New Year's Eve event.
Yeah. That's actually insane.
Ads are being placed on Twitch
in the stream
for said New Year's event.
Like in the stream, you mean?
Yeah, so like people click on your stream,
okay,
and I guess now it doesn't matter if they're subscribed; they'll still see an ad,
unless they have Turbo or whatever, right?
Yeah, so they'll still see an ad regardless if they're subscribed to you or not. So from a partner's perspective, like why would you ever even attempt to turn off ads for people? Just run them when you can run them, and then get, you know, you get money from Twitch.
Right.
But it doesn't make sense to do it if you're
partnered to get money for that, though.
Yeah, they keep saying that eventually affiliates are going to get revenue from that, but we'll see.
I mean, a lot of partners that I've talked to about that, though, say that, I mean, unless you're really huge, that ads don't end up affecting their bottom line anyway. Like, I know Tefty when he first got partnered, he was running ads, and then I mean, he's somebody who gets like 1,000 people usually in his stream, and he's like, yeah, it's not even worth it for me to run ads because it's nothing. It doesn't really come out to any money. So like even when he gets up and takes a break, he doesn't bother running an ad because it's like pennies. So
So Twitch is running this ad, and people are upset because what's Dr. Disrespect said, "Dear Twitch, get these ugly looking New Year's Eve ad rolls off my page. Don't ever do it again, ever." And as far like everyone says, like
I love him.
That have
like,
issues
he gets away with
it.
so much because of his character, but like he literally just gets to like be the voice of the people because it's not him.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is like the article that I saw said that were multiple people who had issues with this. But there's like no other partner that has voiced their opinion on it. I guess Bike Man Stream, is he a partner? I don't even know. But apparently the issue that people seem to be having with it, or the issue that's drawing drama or ire in the community, is that they're advertising for Ninja's stream in their stream when Ninja himself doesn't offer or allow cross promotion in his own channel.
Yeah, well, is it going to be on Ninja's Twitch, or is it going to be on Twitch? Oh, well.
It'll be on Ninja's Twitch, and it'll be on Twitch. It'll be on Twitch, and it'll be on Ninja's Twitch. So.
And he gets the view count from both things, probably.
I'm not sure. Like, because I know it'll be on on Ninja's channel, but I'm pretty sure it'll also be on Twitch's channel as well. Ninja has responded to it, but he apparently deleted it. He said
they probably had to.
The event is going to be broadcast to millions of people to continue to grant exposure to Twitch, which in turn allows other streamers to gain more viewer. What's not to like, or is it just because it's me? And he deleted that tweet. But
I've been saying for a while that I think like it's good that, you know, Mixer and some of these other companies are giving Twitch competition, but it just doesn't seem like it's forcing them to change any of their practices about this kind of stuff. Like, it should be getting more user friendly, and it's not.
I'm sad that the feed, like some of the features that they've taken out this year, like I thought were really great. There was this one.
The feed.
So I thought the feed was great.
Yeah.
I thought the feed was super cool. It made it feel more social media-y, and like you could post. You didn't have to have people follow your Twitter or whatever, because you could post like updates on like what was happening with the stream like live, and people could see that. Like when I logged in, like I would see like on the feed like, hey, I'm not gonna be live tonight because blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh great, I know that now. I didn't have to check other social media. I thought it was awesome. Another thing they did was they did this like weird thing where they moved like viewer count and like your channel or whatever over to like the sidebar, so that like
I love that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It's gone now. And they took that out. It had like more panel visibility, and you were like really interacting with this page instead of just the box, and that's gone. And it's like, yo, guys.
On top of followed channels, they had subscribed channels. So any channels that you were subscribed to, they had above followed channels.
Well, I thought this new category thing was going to be a bigger deal than it is. It doesn't seem to be doing anything at all.
I definitely noticed a difference when it first came out.
I mean, do you notice people come in and say, hey, I found you through the PvE category? No.
I mean, they definitely don't say that, but I definitely had like people come in and like ask more questions. Like I had more inquisitive like streams. Like when I started listening as educational and coaching, and like I met a ton of people through that, and hopefully we'll continue to when this continues. But I think that those are like kind of like specific tags. Like things like PvE are not gonna really like do anything for you. I think body painting is
body painting.
Well, it's interesting because we're in a kind of a catch-22 scenario where Twitch is a very, like, for content creation, it's a very rich get richer situation, where basically like dominating a directory means that you're going to get most of the new viewership too. Whereas like I think other sites have embraced a more algorithmic style where they try and direct people to your channel based on the type of content you provide, which seems more advantageous. But the problem is that obviously the big streamers that have a lot of notoriety are going to be against that because they want all of that new viewership and revenue for themselves. So Twitch is kind of answering to them, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about Twitch is like, you know, is like liberal as you want to be, like with like the helpfulness of algorithms and stuff, and like there are a lot of good ways to push people to streams, and that happens a lot on mobile. They like, I'm not sure how it works, but they just like throw like random like smaller streams like in like while you're scrolling down.
Yeah, that's interesting how that
but
happens
like,
on mobile.
yeah, I don't know how that happens, but like it's
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, and but the thing that feels so good about Twitch, even though it is like very hierarchical, is that you really feel like you can progress. Like the feeling of like there's kind of like this American dream in Twitch, in that like you like everything makes sense. Like you know how to like get bigger, and you know like you can see growth, and like you can game it, like, you know, you use your hosts like to gain like better placement in the directory or whatever.
Yeah, there's more. There's what would you? There's more analytical tools with Twitch than other platforms because of the fact that its metrics are like easily understandable.
Yeah.
And you can look at like a Social Blade just in the same way that you look at a Social Blade on YouTube, and you'll know that, you know, you're progressing with each. Like with YouTube, like the way that it is how many subscribers did I get per video or whatever it is, and what's the impact on that. You can visibly see the improvement there. And Twitch has a very similar style of doing that, where Mixer and definitely Facebook gaming doesn't have. But Mixer does have a really cool feature that I did want to mention. And the only thing that I'll say about on this Ninja thing is it just feels like Twitch is using. It actually feels like Twitch is using Ninja more than Ninja is actually gaining from Twitch, because Twitch is advertising it as, you know, basically looking at it like this, right? So Ninja came off of the Ellen, and he came off of a Jimmy Fallon interview recently where he was just talking to people about video games, and it was totally different than when PewDiePie was interviewed by like, I think Jimmy Kimmel or whoever it was that interviewed him.
Yeah, he's doing a good job representing just gaming and streaming.
Yeah, I think that this push with him and the New Year's thing was more an effort of Twitch using him to gain more popularity for Twitch. So personally, I don't see an issue with it. The thing that I wanted to talk about Mixer that actually Mixer has that like Twitch should have is a personally curated spot. So they have, I don't know what it's called, but it's a moderator, it's a staff member that literally is going into people's streams and watching for like high engagement or high high impact gameplay. Something like, take Fortnite as an example, where like if you're close to a win or if you're in on a win, they might just like straight up host your stream on the front page. And when that's over, when you die, like
I've heard about
they'll move on to the next person.
Yeah,
they'll just keep moving from
How would you integrate that into a non-battle royale game though?
Well, it would have to be, you know, whatever people's watching in each of the directories. So you could easily have done it with the Last Wish thing when there was like. It did
happen with the Last Wish thing with Bungie.
It kind of did. It kind of did happen, but it happened organically.
That Ninja guy got discovered because he accidentally beat the vault first and was way ahead of everybody, and like the word just got around so much that
that had to happen organically though. Whereas if a moderator from Twitch was actually curating that, they could have put him on the front page faster and got more eyeballs on him as soon as he beat the vault. So instead of like, you had to like basically search a directory where somebody's kind of already doing that for you and curating the content.
Yeah.
Twitch doesn't seem to want to curate its own content.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a neat thing. I like that. I like the idea of like someone crawling through the directory and like finding like just like undiscovered or underappreciated content and just like saying like, hey, check this out. Like just like a featured. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
Just really
so like
quick.
if you had a high like engagement with your chat, what does high engagement look like when you add another 3,000 people to your chat? Like what happens?
Well, front page rules are different too. To get on the front page, you have to apply for it. And I only know this because I know Tefty was on the front page for like a week, and basically like 9 months ahead of time, he filled out an application, said, "Hey, I'd like to be on the front page." They review your channel and make sure like it's appropriate and that um, you're not going to like embarrass them or anything like that. And then they have like rules about copyrighted music and stuff like that. Like you can't play any music really unless it's non-copyrighted or whatever. You have to turn it off while you're on the front page. But it's interesting because like while he was doing that, it was an hour block, and then like all these people like flooded in, and I don't know like what the retention rate on that is, but it was pretty interesting to watch like that kind of a social experiment, because it's like the view count, you could watch it like that just jump, and then all these people just like showing up in chat for a while, and then as soon as it's over, like a lot of that engagement falls off. But I wonder how many of those people come back.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine that some of them just kind of hang out, because we've had firsthand knowledge of what happens with like a Ninja host, for example, when he hosted people with like 100,000 people. Like some of those people, like most of them actually subscribe, or they follow, or they just kind of hang out in the channel. And then the next time the person goes live, like they have a good long period of time where they have some retention. But because who was it that had that giant host we were talking about when he had it from Ninja?
Seems like Twitch doesn't care about helping streamers with clear talent because they just let them sit at the bottom of the directory. I don't think that's really like, I don't think it's that nefarious. I think it's really just Twitch is saying, how can we maximize growth on the site this quarter? And that's like their only concern first and foremost, so the way they think they can do that is by promoting and supporting the streamers who already bring in a good amount of people.
Yeah. I think just really quick back to the Ninja thing. Being mad about this, I would understand if they were like promoting like his stream like on a daily basis, or like some kind of weekly stream, or like a featured stream for him. All that would be weird. But this New Year's Eve thing, and every every event that is like of this kind, like Twitch and like large creators from Twitch. Ninja's great right now because he's like viral, like moving out into the world. That's just like millions of new eyes on the platform and what we're doing. And like literally every time that happens, it's like a net positive for the platform. What we saw when like Ninja went super viral was a cap.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him get up to averaging like 250,000 viewers. And then like that was unsustainable because there literally weren't enough people on the platform to like for more people to be watching. Like we like kind of understood for the first time that like Twitch had like a cap. And like in order for anyone to pass that, like the scope of Twitch and like Twitch's like role in like the world and like in online entertainment had to grow, like in order for Twitch to grow, because there is a literal cap on the number of people that can be watching all streams at a time. And like we really didn't understand that until Ninja.
It's definitely been growing. I mean, before Ninja, we had like the return of Dr. Disrespect, where it like crashed the Twitch servers.
Yeah,
and he was only at like 100,000 or something at that time. So Twitch upgraded their infrastructure and like strengthened their servers, and like obviously once Ninja really exploded, then those numbers became like more sustainable, and we kept pushing the limits of what we thought that cap was. I think the stuff Exo was talking about with Ninja going on Ellen and Jimmy Fallon, I'm not like I don't watch Ninja's streams, but I've seen some of his interviews, and I think he's making this more mainstream, similar to how like Drake did when he came on Ninja's stream, because
that was when Ninja actually blew up.
Right.
His first time.
So there's like, you know, because a lot of people obviously have this reaction, like, why would you watch someone play a game when you could just play the game? And, you know, he's given a pretty good allegory and answer to that question on these interviews where he says, you know, you could play football. Like, why do you watch football? You know, you could play anything, but, you know, you're not necessarily going to be as good or entertaining as other people that you can watch do it. So that's why people watch it. And it's a good answer, and I think it's going to make people realize that they're missing out on content that's really not as strange as they think it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
like the fact that it's an event, I was like, okay, so what's gonna happen January 1st? Like, okay, are you really gonna have a New Year's Eve party that you want? And this goes back to the just chatting section of the directory. Are those people watching the people who are just chatting going to ever come to your stream if like they're solely there for that person?
No.
And the answer is no. So like,
yeah, that's an interesting topic, because like a lot of people get really upset, especially about the more lewd streamers that you know, they'll say, oh, they're taking away my viewership. You know, this is so funny, because it's like, all right, what kind of viewer do you think this person has, and why would they be interested? Like, if they're there for that reason, to see that kind of content, do you really think they're interested in your stream? No. That's not what they're here for. I mean,
how fickle
there's a conversation
to
be had about whether you think Twitch is the right platform for that kind of person. Obviously, Twitch really isn't sure whether that's the case. I don't think they want to turn viewership away, but they don't want it to become a porn site either, you know? So they're having trouble like finding out what that line is. But the one thing you don't have to be concerned about is them taking your viewership away, because those people don't care about you, and they're not going to watch your content.
Well, in the same breath, you know, a ninja ad plays, and it's like, oh well, I gotta go watch Ninja now. It's like, even if you were doing a New Year's Eve stream, it's like, how fickle does your community, if a person's watching you, how fickle do they have to be to go, you know what? I love you and all, but I'm gonna literally go watch Ninja for 12 hours instead.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, on Twitch, like, they really, 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 like, there's crossover between like personalities and channels, but like for real, like, if like you're doing your thing, like, people are gonna come for you. Other people, like, they're going for them. Like the majority is like personality based and like the style of content that you're delivering, but like, you know, the only kind of like slippery viewership really is like high tier like gameplay viewership. Or like people are like not there for you or like the entertainment value of the stream. Like they just want to see people win. Like that's the kind of like slippery viewership, because like the second you stop losing, they're like, oh well, now Tifu's better at the game than you. Let me go watch Tifu. Like
or service viewership, because it turns into this raffle thing where it's like people are in your stream and engaging during the raffle, and then as soon as like they don't win, they're like, all right, time to go to the next person who's doing this so that I can have a chance at that one. You know, like there's people who jump around like that too.
Basically, I'm fucked.
Really? I mean, you've been off of that for like a year
for
now,
sure.
You know,
for sure.
But like there is a lot of people out there who sustain themselves on that for a long time, and it's a really thin, ungenuine connection. Like you're not like, it's always the type of viewership you're building. It's like people who do giveaways. Yeah, you might like really jump up in the directory for a hot minute there, but like, do you have the kind of resources you're gonna need to be able to do those giveaways so consistently to keep those people engaged with your content?
Well, you have to, right? So like the way that I would look at that is I'd be like, you know what, you guys are like, if I was in a position to be like to give back to the community, I would in a heartbeat, you know what I mean? So like,
well, we don't know anything about you,
100%
so for all we
then,
know, you're a secret millionaire, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that is That would be a lot cooler than what it actually is.
But there are like cool ways for us to like we can do giveaways and like offer
Right.
like
As
giveaways
long as
like
that
that
is
aren't like
not your
huge
main source
things.
of content, you know, like
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you should be like, hey, by the way, I'm giving away something cool, but you know, hey, you know, you come for that and you stay for the troll lolols or something.
Yeah. I developed like a bunch of systems for the new year, which I'm really excited to see how they pan out.
Mm-hmm.
Systems? What do you mean?
Like systems for the channel. Like I like went through and like I was like, all right, what can I offer anything like back to like subscribers? Like here's Discord, like how do we integrate this? I'm like, okay, sub channels. Like I'm just like my idea like to put in like effect at the start of the new year is like, and I think that we can do this like on like all of our channels, like maybe in like a like raid raffle system or like just some kind of
Patreon
like anyway like
only Snapchat.
no.
Oh yeah.
like sub raffles, like some way to get back. Like my plan is to offer out like sub raffle every month, like a gameplay review, right? Like basically like a free lesson that gets like posted as like a video in like Discord that's only accessible to subs, and then like every week also posts like gameplay review content that like I'm doing on myself or like someone else. Like there's just like creating like some kind of educational content just for like people who are subscribed. So it's like good for both of us, right? Like I get to review my gameplay, you get to like understand what like maybe a lesson is like, and like you get to like enter a raffle for your gameplay to be featured here. If not, you get to like learn from this anyway. Like
that's a really good idea, and I think there's an opportunity for recycling the content too. So while you're offering it as an exclusive piece of content, what if there was like a time restriction on that? So you could say, hey, you know, like if you're a subscriber, you get access to this for a month, and then it goes on my YouTube channel. You know?
Yeah.
Because it's not like something like that is really going to be dated unless it's like directly.
Well, and not to mention that, but they won a raffle, so it's like, do they expect that they're going to keep that private information private forever? Probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
You're probably streaming it on Twitch, right?
Well, probably not the like reviews, but like I think that like Discord integration, like and sub Discord integration, like sub only Discord integration is like something that we really need to look into. Like I think there's a lot of potential.
Right now,
You're saying having your whole Discord server as sub only, or having certain channels in it?
Yeah, having certain channels. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like, there's a lot of potential for like what you can offer. Like what can I offer through Discord? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys
have any closing topics, we do have to wrap this up pretty soon. All right.
Okay.
So just if you have anything you want to talk about, what were you gonna say, XO?
Well, if we were talking about closing topics, I mean, the thing that I saw recently, and I guess I'm behind the curve on it. It broke me. It broke me. There was a guy by the name of Republic Attack. It happened in October, and all he does, and he's been doing for the past 14 or 15 years, is like making these giant dioramas of Legos using Star Wars themes. So the whole idea was that he would like just fill his room with Legos, and he would buy and build sets, and he would integrate those sets into his giant diorama that he made. In October of 2018, he had his car broken into, and I guess he walked into his house and he saw in the lawn and everywhere there were Legos everywhere. He walked in and most, if not all, were either completely destroyed or stolen. And he posted a video saying that he was done with YouTube because he didn't have the money, nor he didn't have the drive to do it again. Mm-hmm. And he just told people that he was really sorry. And the crazy thing is that online there was this petition that was started on GoFundMe to kind of like help him get the money back. to do that. The crazy thing is like the thieves were clearly in it to destroy the Legos because he had a MacBook Air that was sitting on the table, didn't even touch it. He literally had cash on the table, didn't touch it. He had, you know, he said like he had a Millennium Falcon that he was building that it's gone. And he was in tears when he was doing the video.
Mm-hmm.
And so GoFundMe was started and they raised $18,000, but he actually stopped the GoFundMe because he said that it was over the cost to replace it. And I guess he did another video. Like, I'm not sure if he's done or if he is done. He doesn't monetize the channel. That's the problem. So subscribing to him is going to do nothing. But because he doesn't actually monetize any of his videos, so he doesn't make any money off of anything, but he's just upset. Like, I don't know what to do.
Why would someone? Why, man? That is
because what he actually did was he shut down the GoFundMe, and he didn't take any of that stuff. So I mean, I just wanted to talk about that. I don't know.
People,
it bugs me that there are people out there, but at the same time, it's like it's weird because he doesn't want any money, but at the same time, he's not going to continue doing what he was doing before.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why it would be discouraging.
Mm-hmm. On his Twitter, he said this is the first year in 18 years that he's going to not receive Legos as a Christmas gift.
Wow, what the? I'm just curious if if he's big enough for this to be such a huge thing, like, why isn't he monetizing his YouTube videos?
I don't know. He was at 18,000 subscribers, and right now I think he's at 435,000 subscribers, and he still hasn't monetized his videos at all.
I mean, there is people who make content just like out of pure passion, and they are already financially successful and don't really want to necessarily have to look at it as a job, I guess.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to stick to any kind of content creation schedule. I mean, there is benefits to the creative freedom, I guess, that would give you if that's how you want to look at it. It's really sad that people would do that to him. I don't know, especially somebody who has that kind of outlook on it, where they're just doing it out of passion, and somebody wants to wreck that. I mean,
right.
That's I don't know.
That's what said.
492,000 subscribers is what he has right now.
That's insane.
He still hasn't added any monetization at all on it. And he was at, I think, 15,000 subscribers before the video blew up on YouTube in October. But he didn't accept any money from the GoFundMe, and he still hasn't monetized his videos. So subscribing to him still does nothing for him, but it just, I guess, supports him. He's still passionate about Legos though, because people on his Twitter have been sending him like photos of like what they got for Christmas and how they're excited to build it because of the video that they saw in October. And he's still really happy for those people. And he has posted another video thanking people for their outpouring of support. And I didn't think he said anything about what he's planning on doing, but the channel is called Republic Attack with no C, ATTAK. And I mean, he's got two channels, one of which is building the dioramas, and then the other one was kind of just like showing it off. I don't know what the second one was, but
insane, dude.
So, on that note, just to end on a more positive side here,
for sure.
I think that this has been a good experiment. I definitely look forward to continuing, and expanding on this over the next 2 weeks and seeing what we can do. I definitely enjoyed talking about more than just Destiny. I don't know. I guess going forward, we'll have to see, how we can curate this content to be specific and targeted, but at the same time, I want to be unique and carve out something different about this podcast than other podcasts. But Yeah, so try and come up with ideas for next week. That's you two guys in chat. If you want to see us talk about anything, go ahead and throw it in my Discord as an idea. We'll toss it around. We're really just experimenting and trying to find our place here. So
Hell yeah.
this has been GuardianCast episode 43.
Episode 69.
Brainstorming edition, one of the lost episodes, guys.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week for another one of these special edition episodes, and we'll see where it takes us. Thanks everybody for watching. See you next week.